and good morning. How are you? This is Cracker Barrel. Absolutely. I'm Jim Walker, and welcome to you. We're coming from not Posada Java today, but the studios here in beautiful Sarita. We've got Lieutenant Matt McClone with us, and we'll be talking with him about policing in Sarita. But a reminder, you can choose your next home from a variety of apartments, spacious garden homes, or freestanding park center homes. And around the Cracker Barrel, of course, is an informal, unrehearsed discussion of subjects we think will be of interest to you. And Matt, good morning, first of all.
Good morning, Jim. Thank you for having me.
Well, how are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here.
Good, good, good. And policing, that's got to be something that you have on your mind 24 hours a day.
Yeah, that's for sure. One of those things that you don't stop thinking about very often.
Yeah. Now, we were just talking about Sarita's hit over 30,000 in population. You've been with the force for 15 years, so you may have seen a change or two.
Absolutely. I've in my time serving Sarita, I've seen a lot of changes, a lot of growth primarily. And since I've frequented the area for probably the last 3 decades at least, from not living too far away, I've seen a whole lot of growth over those years.
Yeah, you're a valley boy, I guess, as we'd say.
I am, sir.
And what was Sarita like back in those old days?
You know, it was a lot less people, a lot less traffic, I guess, would be the first thing that pops out to somebody.
Yeah.
Obviously the businesses have changed, the industry has changed. There are still some things that I can remember from when I was young that haven't. The groves from the FICO, some of the same things are going on there that probably were before I was born, I would imagine. But those are the things that pop up in my head right off the bat.
Now, do you remember, were you here when they planted the groves, or you're not that old?
I'm not that old,
yeah.
But some days it feels like it, though.
Yeah. But you probably remember out on Sarita Road, I guess there was a school and a convenience store at the traffic light there. And, of course, they've moved that road and changed things around.
Quite a bit. And it was that was the mainstay from the people that are a little older than me that also came down here in my family. That was what when people said Sarita, that's what they were talking about normally.
Yeah. Now, when you visited here, what type of stuff did you do?
Well, there was many years ago there was extra room around here that was available to go hunting on.
Mm-hmm.
So you could do some bird hunting down here. You could do. I can remember as a youngster coming and getting firewood at FICO.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to pull out of you. That's a pretty long time for. I guess they had in the same place, same area, they had the wood available.
When I was stacking wood with my family, it was in a trailer. It was nearby there, not quite there, but yeah, it was definitely the exact same thing. And when I drive by now, I see folks out there doing the same thing I was doing many years ago.
Yeah. What do you do for the department?
I am a lieutenant with the Sarita Police Department. That is simply a supervisor of supervisors. So in the police world, it's very much like the military. You've got officers, you got sergeants, and then the supervisors of the sergeants are lieutenants.
And you take care of what specifically, or is it sort of a general pot where they go, Matt, we've got this problem?
And when you're working for a small department, sometimes you get that.
Yeah.
My official position is I work in the field services division. That's what's formerly what you would call patrol. Mm-hmm. So people in police vehicles in uniform that are responding to calls, doing traffic enforcement or traffic safety. That's where I'm at now. As a small department, we wear a lot of different hats, though. So mm-hmm. that's my day job.
Alrighty. Now, before we get into Heroes, a Meritage Home promotion that's going to be going on tomorrow, I guess.
Yes, sir.
I want to talk about, unfortunately, another school shooting that happened in Texas, I believe in Houston. And there were 8 or so dead so far. They did capture the shooter. That's something that has happened the last few years that really bothers both parents and any residents. And is there a solution, or do you have some thoughts on the situation?
Yeah, I've got a lot of thoughts. As a solution, I think preparation is the solution for most things. I don't know if there's a specific solution for that tragic, because that's something that as a citizen, as a parent, as a police officer, something I worry about lots. Fortunately, I'm real pleased with a lot of because we're actually doing things to prepare to prevent that from happening.
Mm-hmm.
Could be a range that you could point to, a lot of areas that a lot of police departments are doing. Having school resource officers, those are police officers that work within the schools, doing training with the school and training for schools. We work very closely with the Sahuarita School District.
Now, what type of training is involved with that? Is that both training with teachers and students, sort of like the drills we used to do, or I should say I used to do, where they had you crawl under the desk, and that was the atomic bomb routine?
Yeah, we're not doing very much training for the students, but we are working closely with the school district in some of their efforts to do that. Teaching the students is probably best done by the teachers.
Mm-hmm.
The school district they're the professionals in that area. Some of the basic concepts for them to deliver, we help them with. The industry norm in workplace violence, which happens anywhere, which would be categorized with active shooters, is run, hide, fight. And that's one of the things we work with the school district on, as well as we train at the schools and make sure that the officers are very familiar with the schools. That could be from tours. During the summertime, we often, our relationship with the Sahuarita School District, we work very closely with and use their facilities for training purposes for the police officers.
That's run, hide, fight.
Correct. That's what's been identified as a good start for training when you're trying to prepare your whether it's a business or a school or whichever, to give them some of the skills to understand when workplace violence happens, what they need to do.
And in terms of Sahuarita here, do you feel confident that things are under control in terms of getting this done, the training?
I think that we're making real great steps. I don't know if you can ever be 100% sure that you can stop everything. I'm not sure if that exists, but we're real pleased with the steps we take and the training and the communication, which is a big aspect. When something bad happens, meeting or making friends, that's not the time. Those relationships should be built already.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that out of the Houston shooting, I know there was at least one policeman injured, and this leads us to Hero Appreciation Day on Saturday, which is tomorrow, May 19th, from noon to 4 p.m., and that will be at Madeira Highlands. And you can tell us a little bit more about that, Matt, if you would.
Absolutely, I'd love to. That's one of the many events that the Sahuarita Police Department is involved in, not to mention the town. And it's near and dear to our heart. It's focused. We have a large population of active and reserve and National Guard staff that are employed, live here in Sahuarita and the Green Valley area. We've got this event was started in conjunction with the home builder in that area, and it's kind of grown year after year, and the focus has changed to large first responders as well as military personnel.
And there'll be games, giveaway prizes, music, and food.
Absolutely, food. That's a big part of it. Yeah, they're Sahuarita police officers and Green Valley firefighters who we partner with. They are going to be cooking for you. So there'll be hot dogs and hamburgers out there cooked by both police
professional
officers.
cookers.
That would be the firefighters, but yes,
well, you guys never let them go on that stuff, do you?
No, sir. No, sir.
But so how big, just in a general sense, is the police department in Sahuarita now? And of course, it's grown to they were probably just a daytime force at one point, I would imagine.
I don't know about that. As far as I know, they've always been a full service police department 24/7. Now I believe we're in the 40s. I don't have that exact number for sworn personnel, but we definitely we've grown over the years, that's for sure.
Yeah, a lot of mileage to cover.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and Sahuarita, I know you look at all the surveys, you look at the statistics, it's a pretty darn safe place.
Yeah, I think the first responders and the community who we partner with do a really great job of making Sarita a great place to live.
I know on the community website, if there are any problems, they'll say, hey, we saw this person doing this or doing that. I think probably the best news source around, community-wise, that is.
Absolutely. And that's what's going to give you the best response to making your community safe, and is a partnership.
And I know in terms of small crime, there is some small crime, but generally the bigger crime, there's not much of that.
We have a less frequency than other.
Less frequency, I like that.
Yeah, than other places, but unfortunately, yeah, we have some of the same problems, and we have some sad stories and incidents that happen, unfortunately. But we work hard to make sure they're handled, properly investigated, appropriate action is taken, and learn from any issues that we can maybe do better patrolling, better approach to preventing problems, because that's what we'd all like to do.
Yeah. Now, in terms of camera use, both on body and I guess on telephone poles or the rest of it, where there are traffic cams around, where does Sarita stand in that area?
The Sarita Police Department manages the body camera program for the police officers for Sarita. So what you'll see is a small dark-colored box-looking device that'll be normally on the front of an officer's uniform. That's what we call a body-worn camera. Those cameras are used while the police officers are working, and they're then downloaded into a system that, depending on what kind of contact or what kind of call it is, tells us how long those will be kept in there. So they're kept in a database at the police department and managed from that. And then the state gives you requirements on how long each type of event needs to be kept. Pretty much.
Oh, interesting. So basically a speeding ticket might be kept a month or something like that. And then
until the hearing or that, you've got the understanding. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, you guys carry so much on your belt. One day I want to do a show, not over the radio, but on Facebook, of all the different items you carry on your belt. It amazes me that I would lose track of what I had and probably shoot myself in the foot or something. But between the mace and the rest of it.
Yeah, I doubt that. I'm sure you'd be fine. But it is. And with time goes on, technology changes, and that technology can be in many different forms. You mentioned mace. I remember mace way back. Now there's no more mace because of the chemical based. Now they use a natural product called basically pepper spray. Yeah. And without using any fancy words, it's just it's hot chili is what the base of that is. And it's, instead of being a chemical, it's more of a natural base, which is probably healthier, I would imagine, why they went to that. But lots of things have changed over the years.
Now, how do you decide you've got a choice between a gun, pepper spray, probably a taser? Do you still carry batons?
We do. And that's what we would consider our force continuum. And depending on the situation, we dictates what escalation or de-escalation of force that we need to use to control the situation.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking is, how do you rate it? Where you've got a situation and go, should I use a little force with the baton? Should I use a pepper spray? How does that all, what's the order of that?
The order of that is what's to gain control of the situation. And that's the order that dictates it. So obviously, if someone's shooting at you, that's at one end.
You don't want to use a baton.
Yeah, or you want to use. Yeah, you're going to want to be using the right tool for the right job. I guess that old saying works best. And it doesn't just start with those tools. It starts with your presence. If just having an officer present somewhere sometimes diffuses the situation and stops what might become a physical or a dangerous situation just by having the police there. And that's why it's important here in Sarita if you see something going on you think might be a problem, call 911. You're not backing up the 911 service. having us there's something that you don't like, that you see that looks suspicious, call 911. That's how you get us out there. That the non-emergency number isn't for that. That's for getting a police officer to come take a look at it. That's why we're here.
Alrighty, and we'll follow up with some other questions with Lieutenant Matt McGlone right after this message from La Posada. Cracker Barrel, Friday morning. And coming up on a good weekend, weather-wise, it's going to be a nice one out there. With us is Lieutenant Matt McGlone, the lieutenant of lieutenants. How's that? You said the supervisor of supervisors. We'll get you that title.
That's that would be a new one. That's just a simple way of thinking it for maybe folks that don't understand rank structure in a police department.
Nobody understands rank structure in the radio stations, believe me. But anyway, so you report to the chief. Is that how that goes?
No, my boss is the next rank at the Cerrito Police Department would be commander.
Okay.
And they control easiest way to think of it is half of the department.
Okay.
And so I
the good half for the bad half.
You know what? I guess it depends on where your point of view. But so I actually don't answer to the chief. My boss is a commander.
Well, excellent. And one of the things we are going to talk about next is Nixle. And that's something I was ignorant on. Of course, Steve was ignorant on. What we count on Steve being ignorant on many things, but we just pick on each other like this. And don't worry, Matt. We don't get into a fist fight, but yeah. Anyway, what is Nixle, and how does it affect us all?
And well, Nixle is a program utilized by the town of Cerrito and the Cerrito Police Department that broadcasts information. Could be any type of information, town events, location of town events, put out information related to an event that might be going on or a change in town services. The police department also has access to it because Nixle is a good platform that connects. It's a one-stop shopping. So we could hit Twitter, town Twitter, police department Twitter, Facebook for the town, Facebook for the police department, and other social media platforms, all with one system. So it's kind of a one-stop shop and makes it a little bit more efficient. So information can be put out by the town to citizens without putting a press release out where then it needs to be processed by a news entity and put out. Now we can put out stuff quickly and efficiently directly from the source.
So you've just dumped us, the press, and said the heck with these guys. But yes,
only if you don't subscribe to Nixle,
yeah.
Jim.
You know, that's interesting, and it's a better way of communicating many times because you go direct to the people.
Correct.
And that's what makes it healthy, and then we can pick apart what actions you took. So
exactly, that's exactly how it works.
But teasing you there. But in terms of items that you put on it, do you put them on, or
there are many people throughout the town that have access to utilize it. For instance, most of the time I would utilize it would be for maybe to announce an event like the Hometown Heroes event that we'll be having at Madeira Highlands Park. If we felt that we needed to get that information out and it wasn't getting out fast enough, that would be a quick way to do it, to put out people to subscribe to Nixle. And that's actually a good question. We haven't talked about is how to subscribe to that.
Well, that's what I was just going to get to. Do you know how many people are on Nixle in Cerrito?
That's a good question. I know when we first started a while back, it was very few, only I think 300 and change. I think we're up to 1,000 now. We've done some steps because it's kind of a new program to try to push that forward. The town has traffic advisory boards that we use for different things to let you know about traffic or issues in an area. We've utilized those boards around town. We've moved around at different locations to let people know, hey, this is how you subscribe to Nixle, and it's on a traffic where you might see, hey, no turn left or something like that on an information board. Yeah, those message boards are now being used to explain to people what Nixle is, because getting the word out sometimes isn't as easy as simply getting on on your show.
Well, Matt, I'm going to invite you to write an article. We have coming out in July our quarterly KGVY Community Quarterly, which goes to Sarita, Quail Creek, Green Valley, and of course Tubac. And I'd like an article about Nixle and how people can sign up for it, because I think it's of great value to immediately get to people and say, this is a problem, stay away, or this is a problem, take action, when you have floods, that type of thing.
Absolutely.
During the monsoons, you'll be out of electricity for a while. Very important. So we can talk about that off air more. Just don't let me forget, being old and senile.
I won't.
Is that a 24-hour service?
Absolutely, and it's really easy to manage for the user. Let's say you want to sign up on your smartphone.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as texting somebody. You could bring up a text window on your smartphone and type in the send to 888-777, and then the text information that you put out is the main zip code to the town of Sarita, 85629. Now, there's other zip codes in Sarita, but that one there will get you specifically the information that's for the Sarita Green Valley area.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll be able to get that by texting to 888-777, the zip code for Sarita, which is the main one is 85629.
Now, was that 888-777?
Yes, it's similar to like a phone number you put in there. You'd want to put the dash in there. Thank you. That's gonna sign you up in one text.
Alrighty, Steve, I wrote it down, so we'll both, between the two of us, manage to get it up on Facebook. We'll have the information and this interview on Facebook shortly.
Wonderful.
After it's over. But again, 888-777, and then the zip code, no space between the 7 and the zip code?
Well,
will it instruct
in the window, what you want to do is that'll be the number, like the phone number you're going to text.
Mm-hmm.
The message you want to send to that number would be the zip code.
Okay.
So that's in the message part is where the zip code comes in. The phone number, or that's what that is basically. The phone number that you're going to be texting to is those 6 numbers separated by a dash, 888-777. Then you go down to the body of the text and you put in that zip code, and it signs you up. Pretty easy.
We should be able to do a demonstration of that on Facebook someday, Steve, shouldn't we? Sure. Steve and I both have dumb phones,
I'm jealous.
Yeah. But anyway, so how long has the service been available for the town?
That's a good question, and I should know that answer. I would say roughly at least a year.
Yeah.
At least a year we've been, there was a little bit of startup time because there's a lot of data entry.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few things to get you up and running, but I'd say it's at least been a year, maybe more. And it's really great because it serves both as an internal town of Sarita communications tool that we can communicate to employees for services, and also for the public. So it's one-stop shopping.
Alrighty. Now, recruitment, that's always a challenge. I remember working with the Hill Street Blues folks years ago. That shows how old I am, to get recruits in LA. And I don't think it's as tough as looking for recruits in LA as it is. It should be a lot easier in Sarita.
I'd like to think so. And it's not so much. Sometimes we're at one of those periods. When I first started in law enforcement, there was a lot of people who really wanted to be in law enforcement. Not so many people that way. So recruiting's become a big part of law enforcement, getting the people, because you have to pass a background investigation that's rather lengthy, because we want people that have been vetted to be in our community, serving them. So
is that an FBI check? Do you know?
It's a little bit more than that. It's
wow.
It's a little bit more. You're going to be going. It's not going to be a fingerprint to search for a criminal history is just one small part. We usually have investigators go out with people that we hire before we hire them, and we do a full background. That's part of the what we do to vet them before we send them to the academy, or if they're already police officers or law enforcement officers from somewhere else, we do the exact same thing and redo a full background on them to make sure that they're the person we want to be working. They meet our standards.
Now let's say somebody wants to sign up to be a police officer, first step is obviously fill out the form, fill it out thoroughly, fill it out correctly.
Very important.
I would imagine you probably disqualify folks if they have problem with the form. So
well, it's an important part of our job is attention to detail. So yeah, that's a big part. The initial for individuals that want to work in Sahuarita is you need to contact. You can go on the web, or you can call the town of Sahuarita at 822-8800 and ask for human resources. But they will be able to direct you. But also on the website, there's 2 documents that need to be filled out, and they're on the town of Sahuarita's website under the Human Resources Department. And those are the beginning. That's what starts everything. Once the testing process has been open and we've got it hired, those are the 2 documents that need to be completed first.
Okay, so you fill out the form. What type of education is required?
High school diploma or GED is the standard right now, but that could be changing for more education in the future.
Now, do you have to do any continuing education once you're on the force?
Absolutely. There are state minimums, and then each individual adds on those what they feel is more important to them. But there is once you go through a Arizona Police Academy, there's a basic number of hours that you need to complete, and then the training goes on throughout your whole career.
Now, the Arizona State Academy, let's say you pass all the testing and the paperwork, the academy is how long and how tough?
Well, I guess from a tough standpoint, would depend on the individual. Might be easier for others. They are or vice versa. But once you've got that, they're normally about 16 to 17 weeks, and once you've got that done, you go on to additional training with your department. Here in Sahuarita, we would be putting people through a little bit additional training after that. Then we do something called a FTO, field training.
Is that sort of like an internship, or
yes.
You're
on the
job
training?
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's kind of a mentoring plus a journeyman type of concept for other fields. And you're going to be riding with an officer who's going to be at first doing most of the training, and towards the end of that program, they're doing mostly the monitoring of you and watching and coaching you, training you, mentoring you before you're allowed out on the street by yourself in that position.
Now, do most cars ride with 1 or 2?
In Sahuarita, 1 vehicle, 1 officer normally is unless it's a training unit or there's some other reasoning for that. But normally it's just 1 officer, 1 car.
And in terms of money, I was trying to look for a nice way to say that. Are the salaries competitive?
That's a big battle. They're always, here in Pima County, there's lots of different police departments, law enforcement agencies. So that's definitely a competing issue, is who's paying what, and we're competitive right now.
I always wonder, you're putting your life on the line every day, and there's not enough money out there, I think, that can compensate for a life if anything should happen. But that's a personal opinion. I don't want to drag you into that type of stuff, Matt. But June 8th, blood drive. Yes,
the town of Sahuarita is having a blood draw on June 8th, and it's going to be at the town of Sahuarita Complex, 375
we know
West
where it is.
Sahuarita Center Way.
Yes.
And if you'd like to sign up, which is strongly encouraged to get you in, you could call the police department at 344-7000, and they will direct you to someone who would be able to sign you up, get you an appointment, which gets you in and out a little bit faster. They still accept walk-ins on June 8th at the town complex, but it might be better to call in first.
Now, are you going to have the bloodmobile there, or who takes the blood? Where's the blood go?
Absolutely, bloodmobile will be there. There will be folks there to do a kind of an intake of you, ask you the basic questions, and then they'll rush you out to the bloodmobile where the Red Cross will take it from there.
Excellent. Now, again, for anybody who wants to look at possibly becoming a peace officer, and male and female.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How's the mix on that with Sahuarita?
I
We'll
don't know
put you on the spot.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know the exact numbers. I'm not sure, but absolutely, it's we want good police officers. We're not concerned about gender. We're concerned about making sure that they're qualified, professional, and they're the right fit to serve the town of Sahuarita.
Excellent. So either go online. What's the website for
the
online?
Town of Sahuarita's website. You would then go to jobs or the human resources tab that's on the clearly marked on the front page of the website. That'll lead you to the section where there'll be announcements for jobs, and you'll be able to click right on there. If you have any problems with that or confused, you could always call the town hall at 888 or 822-8800 and ask for human resources, and they could direct you through that process as well.
Excellent. We'll be talking more about that in the future. We'll talk more about Nixle. Lieutenant Matt McGlone. And Matt, we thank you for putting your life on the line every day.
Thank you.
All righty. And Steve, oh, yes, I have to do a close. Yes. And here, professionally, he said, and Around the Cracker Barrel has been brought to you by La Posada, Southern Arizona's best choice in senior living, offering low-stress living with amenities that enhance your well-being and peace of mind. When you think about it, isn't that what retirement living is really all about? Visit La Posada to see if it's right for you. See you next week. All righty.